This is Ayo. You're watching Young Africa Talks. We're in Jersey City. I'm talking to a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine. His name is Jeph. He's the founder of Blossom Academy in Ghana. And let's meet him. Let's talk to him.
Hey, Ayo.
Hey,
How are you, man?
how's everything?
See you.
How you been?
Good. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for having me.
See you, man.
Thank you so much. So, the first question I'm going to ask you, you don't. I feel like you're a person of integrity, so you can tell me the truth, right? Like, and don't worry, no one's going to get upset. And do you enjoy love or Ghana? Don't lie.
Man.
Don't lie.
It's a good question. I've had both, right? But just so I'm fair, I'll say I'll give it to the Senegalese, because that's where jollof originated from.
I'm joking.
I'm not going to go to that debate at all.
It's just Senegalese.
Good question, though.
Yeah. That's a good one. I still think Andrew Jollof is better. But
You got it.
the first time we met was at the Clinton Global Initiative
Right.
in 2016
Yeah.
in San Francisco, and it was amazing because like I met a lot of like young African professionals who were like looking to make a difference, right? They were like looking to make an impact, and that's why I met you, and you were one of those people. And I already kind of know a little bit about you, but I want you to expand, kind of talk about you, who you are, where you're from, what you do, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah. Well, thank you for this opportunity. So, name is Jeph, originally from Ghana. Very, humble household, and moved here at age 13 for school.
Okay.
Following my, father's passing. Passed away when I was 10, and we moved here.
Sorry about that.
It's all good. It really helped actually shape my entrepreneurial journey, which I'll explain a bit later. Moved here with my family, came to New York, and have been here since. And I went to NYU, did economics and business management, and I'm really passionate about the role social entrepreneurship and innovation play in shaping the African economy. And that was inspired by my very first nonprofit in college. And that nonprofit was then inspired by turning my wounds into wisdom when my father passed away.
Okay. Let's talk about the first non-profit you started. Was that Isusu or was that?
No, that was Nancy Global.
Okay.
Throughout my life, I've always been starting things here and there, but I didn't really come to understand what entrepreneurship was until I worked on that initiative. Following my father's passing, I started to go astray, right? I would not really take school seriously. I would not really care about what the future is. Although I had a very strict mother, my mother also had to work multiple jobs to make ends meet. And being the firstborn, I just put things to my hands and make sure that I do whatever I feel like is right for me.
Okay.
Then I had an uncle who walked into my life, and he pretty much changed the scope of the potential narrative that I would have birthed later on, which was he helped me realize my potential, helped me realize that I can fulfill more than I thought I could fulfill, and pretty much put me under his wings and gave me the resources, the confidence, the skills he's needed to succeed. And when I came to NYU, I noticed that there are a plethora of orphans. I believe in Ghana, upwards 1 million orphans. And there are a plethora of them globally, and they don't have the same uncle that I had, right?
Yeah.
Or they don't have the same dedicated mother that I had. So how do I successfully assist them while being a student in school? So I launched Nancy Global. It's a very simple initiative. What we did was that we created bracelets.
Okay.
Put inspirational quotes on the
I
bracelets.
remember that.
Yeah. And that was when I used to do spoken word poetry. So whenever I would recite poems on stage, people would come to me and say how much they liked the poem, and I'll sell these bracelets and I'll give replica to a child in a developing country.
Okay.
An idea is that I believe there's a lot of power in words. And if a child read these words, he or she would feel empowered, to tap into their fullest potential. But the thing with entrepreneurship is that there's no such thing as failure, but it's pivoted, right? So it pivoted, when we realized that we can do more.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up going to Ghana to mentor orphans life skills through entrepreneurship.
That's amazing.
So yeah, that's pretty much how all the Twitter
Okay.
stuff unfolded. Yeah.
Good. Let's talk about uh, your experience at the Clinton Global Initiative.
Yeah.
The experience I had, like I said, was kind of amazing. Like it kind of gave me that. Like I walked out of that place thinking I could do anything.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, later after a few weeks, the reality kind of set in.
Right,
Okay, like it's not that easy to.
Right.
But at that moment, just being around like all you guys and being like in front of like Bill Clinton and everyone,
Right.
and just talking about how we wanted to change the world.
Yeah.
Like it was amazing. Like talk about your experience and how that went for you.
Yeah. You know, the Clinton Global Initiative was one of the most instrumental points in my life for a plethora of reasons. You know, so I actually applied for the Clinton Global Initiative the year before, and I did not get it. And I remember just like bawling tears, right? Thinking that my life is over, I'm not going to like do anything great. I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, but you know, it's interesting because I applied with the Anansi idea, but funny enough, the Anansi idea pivoted to Blossom Academy, which I applied to the Clinton Global Initiative with, and I'm glad I did. Because while being there, I came to really understand, you know, the different kind of initiatives people are doing and what their reasons were. And you know, you mentioned, you know, seeing Bill Clinton and you know, seeing all these like leadership people. I think that helped validate the fact that if you chase your dreams and fulfill your potential, there'll always be people out there who are willing to support. You know, and you know, the biggest thing I took from that event, I would say, was social capital.
You mentioned Blossom Academy.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that because that's like something I think is amazing. I want you to explain how that came about, what inspired you, and what exactly is Blossom Academy.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, when Blossom Academy first started, the idea has changed way too many times, and I think one of the pivotal moments was actually the Clinton Global Initiative. There happened to be a team that were actually working on something very similar in Kenya. And I was like, whoa, like this is actually something this is a problem that exists, which is youth unemployment. I knew it existed, but I had not done enough research. Funny enough, the team that was working on that actually, and I'm dating the girl who was on the team then, so it's funny how the Clinton Foundation plays a role into that. But you know, that made me understand that, you know, I'm not the only one working on this problem, and there are so many people who see that youth unemployment is a problem, trying to figure out different ways to design solutions to tackle it.
So, remember the reason why we met was because I was talking about my research on brain drain and what I think about brain drain. I think it's very bad and very detrimental to African continent as a whole. I want to know what you think about that. I want to talk about brain drain a little bit now and talk about how you are planning to go back to kind of to make a difference and work actually in Africa.
Yeah. So, I mean, I do agree with you that, you know, brain drain is very problematic. I can speak about it in the Ghanaian context because that's what I've been reading the most about and seeing the most about, right? So, courts actually put out an article in 2015. I think the article was referenced to 2015 where it mentioned that, you know, out of the 27 million population of Ghanaians that exist, I think upwards, you know, 7% or so had applied for the US visa. I have to cross-check those numbers, but the point is that it was the highest in terms of like globally. Number of people who applied to leave.
I'm not surprised, and I'm not surprised. Everyone wants to leave. I remember I was telling you in the beginning about my research. There was like one in 3 educated Nigerians want to leave the country. Like if they had the opportunity, they would get on the flight and leave.
Exactly, right. It's mind blowing, and I think the reason why I actually became interested in this topic was when I was in Ghana, you know, through Anansi, and I remember when I was leaving, one of the students that we're teaching goes, you know, so Mr. Jeph, when you leave, are you going to come back? Right? I'm like, yeah, of course, you know, I love this country, I'll come back. And he goes, oh, me, yeah, if I go, I'll never come back. right? And it really hit me. I was like, why wouldn't you come back? You know, he's like, there's no opportunities here, right? And that's what most people who are living in the African continent, who are extremely intelligent, extremely skilled, tend to believe that there are no opportunities there. But based on my market research, based on conversations, based on my observations, the opportunities do exist. I think it's a matter of being equipped well for the opportunities that exist in their respective countries, right? Because today the new face of globalization is multinational corporations bringing in their own people from abroad to fill the roles.
Example, China.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was reading about how the Chinese give loans to build companies and infrastructures, but the stipulation is that you use Chinese workers, right?
Exactly.
So now that there are 1 million Chinese individuals in Africa, I think that's to me. But I just feel like maybe I don't understand government and governance, because I just think if I'm in a position of power in an African country, if a company is coming to create a branch in my country, one of the stipulations is you have to hire a certain percentage of the population of the place you're in. I would think it's just kind of straightforward, but no, that's not what really happens.
Yeah, I think Rwanda is trying to pioneer something very similar, where it's like if you're looking to establish an institution, organization in the country, in some sort of knowledge sharing, where you're educating, the workforce there. So when you leave, the workforce can actually take over and continue your operations. So let's take India for example. When you're trying to do business in India, you actually have to have a local partner on the ground. If you don't do that, the business will just not take off, right? That's kind of the stipulation that governments have put into place. So when I think about it in an African context, I always say you can be dispassionate about politics, but you cannot be dispassionate about governance, because it plays a very integral role in the success of entrepreneurship, of innovation, etc. So I think governance needs to play a role in seeing how they can make people feel like be included in the global economy, because we have so many multinational corporations expanding their efforts onto the African continent.
Let's talk. So now you're a bit different out of everyone I've talked to in terms of like when I ask people, do you want to go back? Some people say yes, some people say no. Like you're the first person I know that's going back. It's definitely happening. So can you talk about that, like in terms of going back, what you're going to do and how in what context you're going back to? I used to be one of those people that when you ask, are you going back? Sometimes I say yes, sometimes I say I don't know. But I just never said no, which is good. But I will be moving back, not to my country Ghana, but to Kenya, right? I'll be going through a program at Princeton University, Princeton in Africa Fellowship. And while there, I'll be working with a data services company, understanding the role data plays in shaping businesses across the African continent. I think there's still room for governments, for businesses to do meaningful work by analyzing the right data. So the hunch for Blossom Academy, or the premise of Blossom Academy right now, is that being able to collect and analyze the right data can really help revolutionize the way decisions are made in governments and in businesses across Africa. I can say that if I didn't get this opportunity, I would go back this soon. So I don't want to, act and say, I already figured it out and say I'm going to pack my bags and go. I think this opportunity was like this, catalysis that said, maybe it's a good idea to explore. And the fact that, I'm going with, an organization that is supporting me, I think helped the decision be easier. But the long-term goal, is to definitely, live on the African continent. It doesn't have to be Ghana. Although it would be great if it's Ghana, but the long-term goal is to live where I can make the most impact. Just come to Lagos, we'll take care of it.
Hey, it's on my list.
So let's talk about solutions. Right? We'll talk about the problems, talk about how people want to leave, we'll talk about the issues. We all know the reason why people want to leave.
Right.
Do you, off the top of your head, do you think what are the solutions that you think could be put in place for people to want to remain in the continent,
Yeah.
or for young African professionals like ourselves to want to go back?
Yeah, so there was actually, I'm going to answer your second question, then come to the first. So there was actually an article that came out from Yale that said, based on the survey they did, 70% of Africans pursuing their MBA want to move back, and 90% of Africans that are pursuing their PhD want to move back,
Okay.
which are very high numbers.
But let's take into context. Want to move back and moving back is totally different.
100% agree. 100% agree. Which means that people are starting to see the number of opportunities that exist, and they are looking to explore or dabble, these opportunities. In terms of what will make people who are on the continent, who are highly skilled, who are highly intelligent to stay and not want to move to the States, I think it's not to blow our own horn, but I think more initiatives like what we're doing through Blossom Academy is needed.
Okay.
Being able to upskill the local workforce, or being able to bridge the gap between industry and academia.
With the young people, right?
Yeah.
Like the young people in Africa is just, there's so many, like, that's why I'm so excited about the future of
Right.
African countries, because like the majority is the young people.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about numbers of other countries, but Nigeria is about 200 million,
Yeah.
and 60% are young individuals. So I'm someone that really believes that the key to Africa's growth is
Right.
like the young individuals in terms
Right.
of being energetic,
Right.
being innovative,
Yeah.
and the fact that we've seen like what we could do.
Right.
Like, everywhere I go, I see brilliant young Africans doing great things.
Yeah.
You, for example, a lot of people in so many different fields, and I think that's something that I'm looking forward to, and I'm excited for.
I just actually want to maybe get the biggest insight you learned from that research, right? Because it seems like you can read as many articles as possible. You're going to see as many new different contexts here and there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just curious to hear, what you learned from, doing that research. Like, what do you think is the significant contribution to brain drain? And I'd love to hear how you think it can be solved.
I learned a lot.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot, and in my paper, I made some controversial statements, I would say.
Okay.
And the reason why I said that is because, for example, so the first part is your question: what is the biggest contribution to brain drain? Slavery and colonization. That's what I said.
Okay.
And the reason why I said that is I think brain drain is a continuation of the effects of slavery and colonization.
Right.
And the reason why I said that is the first militarized brain drain from Africa was slavery. If you think about the millions of people that were taken away, right? That's human capital. That's human capital, human work that was taken away from the continent. Just
Yeah.
And now you see people in the U.S., Brazil,
Right.
UK, the Caribbeans, right? And in my paper, I talked about the idea of American pop culture,
Right.
Would hip hop exist? Would the NBA exist? Would the NFL exist without slavery? I'm just someone that really believes in the fact that a developing continent such as Africa is never going to get better with it's the brightest people
Yeah.
leaving.
Right.
You need that human capital. You need those people.
Yeah.
People like you, people like me, people like my friends who I believe are just brilliant intellectual beings. Just having them on the continent, having them doing what they do. Like, I think if the conditions is right and the infrastructure is in place, people wouldn't leave.
Yeah.
Like,
Great.
why would I leave a place where I'm a majority to come to a place where I'm a minority?
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's it's because of the opportunities that's here.
Yeah.
But like I said, thank you so much.
Of course,
Thank you
man.
very
It's
much
a
for
pleasure.
that.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it.
Of course.
Thank you.
Yeah.